Hello, this is Michael Trade-Winds RV Center here to congratulate you on your Palomino Solaire 267 BHSE travel trailer. I'm going to walk you around it, show you how to use a few things so you can get the best out of your camping experience. Let's start by talking about arriving at the campsite. A couple things to think about when you're parking this on your campsite. Leave plenty of room for your awning on your off campsite. Besides leaving room for your slide, I want you to think about where your power and water connections are going to be. Your power cord is going to plug in all the way at the rear of the unit back here. And then your docking station for water at campsites is going to be up toward the front here. So park accordingly so you can utilize the facilities at the campsite. Once we arrive, we'll unhook our hitch and level our unit with our power tongue jack. Got a night docking light should you arrive at night. Up is up, down is down. Run this up and down until you're level. Once you are level, we'll stabilize it. Now, should you lose power, underneath this rubber stopper right here, the smaller of your two hand cranks will get on that and get this up and down without power. Speaking of power, check your battery post every now and then. Make sure nothing's wiggled loose over time. Once we've got our unit level, next thing you do is stabilize it. Now, your scissor stabilizing jacks are also equipped with strong arms. What these are going to do, they're going to give you extra support once these are down. So start by making sure that them are loose, untwisted. Grab your hand crank or a 3/4 inch socket on the end of a drill. I don't recommend a impact driver though, because that'll kind of tear this mechanism apart from the strength. But drill gun will work fine. Get yourself some stabilizing jack pads from our store. Use your 10% off coupon. Grab a handful of those. Put a couple of those down underneath these. That's going to protect the feet of your stabilizing jacks from sinking into hot black top or getting all dirty. Put them down and run these down on top of them just until they're taut. Remember, our unit's already level. We don't want to change that. We just want to stabilize it. Once you get that stable, you'll tighten up your strong arms. Front's got two. And back here in the rear, you run them down and then tighten down your strong arms. Got all four of those down. You're stable, level, and suck up our power and water. Big long 30 amp cord plugs in on here in the rear, and then turn it to center and then put your black washer on. Should you need at the end, ever need to plug into a 110, you got a 30 to 15 amp reducer in your convenience pack. Got your power hooked up. Let's hook up your water. Again, the docking station for city water or campsite water is up toward the front here. Grab yourself a water pressure regulator. Hook that up. Hook up your hose, but don't turn your hose on yet. Let's find your hot water heater. Yours is over here on the campsite. And all we're doing at this point, folks, is just making sure our drain plug's back in there. You may have been out last time camping, drained your hot water heater, and pulled your drain plug. If you have, we're going to put that back in there. There's an anon rod in that as well. Put plumber's tape on that, not putty. Putty will gum up on you. Plumber's tape on that, 1.25" socket. Get that in there nice and tight. Once that's tight, you can go ahead and turn that hose on. After that hose been on, go inside, open that slide if you need to. I need you to get in there and open up all your water lines. Your sinks, your showers, turn all them on. Get all the air out of the lines, nice steady flow of water. Shut them off and you're all set to camp. Now let's say we're gonna go dry camping. In that case, we'll fill up our freshwater tank. No need for a water pressure regulator here. You can just gravity fill this with a hose. There's two ways to tell it's full. One, there's an overflow valve right here. Or two on the inside where you check the level of your black and gray tanks. There's also a freshwater button. Once that's full, remove that hose, and then whenever you want to utilize that water, you turn on your water pump indoors. Don't turn on your water pump and hook to city water. That is already pressurized. All right, we're all set to camp. We got power and water. We'll continue walking around the unit, starting on our off camp side. I do have looks like the remains of a level here. Magnet will hold these up. You've left your access panel off there so you can see when the access panel is. You can get to all of your water lines as well as the line to winterize. Usually where your fresh water is, Here's your freshwater drain. Let's talk slides. On your slide seal, you want to keep these nice and flexible and pliable over the years. There is a spray that you can spray on those. Good recommendation to get some of that. Coming to the rear here, this is our black tank flush. We'll talk about that when we dump our black and gray tanks. Got a docking light out here. Cable and satellite connects here. Again, our power and a hot and cold shower. Sewer hose will store in there. You got a good spare tire here. I just recommend getting a cover for it. This is going to sit and bake in the sun all day. Get a cover for that. Down here are our regular low point drains. Looks like you're prepped for a backup camera here. On your awning, you only want to run that awning out until that flap falls down. If you hold that extend out, that will keep going, flip up onto itself and start to run itself out backwards. So keep an eye on it when you're running it out. Up top, you got a couple of speakers, your porch light, a vent for your hood range. This is access to the back of your fridge. This is a condensation hose there. Don't be surprised to see water coming out of that. Flue for your furnace. A few things on that. One, make sure it's never blocked. Two, if you are running your furnace, steer clear of these. They do get hot. And lastly, invest in bug guards for those screens to keep the mud dauber wasp out of there. Back to your hot water heater again. If for some reason it doesn't seem to be working, come out here and look to see if either one of these are bubbled up. Press them back in. They are reset. Other information on your hot water heater is there. Cable 110 in case you want to put a TV outside. The other side of your pass-through storage. Your propane has a cover. There's on a regulator pointed toward the tank you wish to be using. Lefty-loosey to open. I think that about covers everything out here. Go check out the inside. Coming up inside the unit, first thing I like to point out is the fire extinguisher. Make sure that everyone that's camping with you knows the fire extinguisher is located by the entry doorway. Up and to my left is going to be my control panel. Starting on all the way to the left, that's going to show the level of your battery. There's your fresh tank. That's the one to hold down when filling up your freshwater tank. Black and 2 gray tanks. Here's our living room lights. Porch light, which is that orange light. There is no scare light. Here's where you turn on your water pump to get to that fresh water. Here's where you turn on your water heater. Slide for your living room and your awning. On your awning, again, run that out that far, as far as you want to go. Go ahead and retract that back in. And as it's coming in. Is that what it is? Well, you get 110 with GFCI reset here. So I wrote that the rest of the way in. I'll tell you that these doors work best when gently slammed. All right, below that is going to be your carbon monoxide propane detector. Right in the hallway, we'll go ahead and go through this furnace. Turn that on, scroll through to cool. This should kick our AC on. The quick dump is open. Now when you close them, it sends more air through these. I'm just going to cycle through to off. Generally the AC shut off rather quickly. Alright, so you got fan, cool, and furnace. We'll go down to furnace now. Get that to kick on. Find your return, usually under the fridge. And there's your return. You get that kick on. Now what you will notice is when I shut your furnace off, it's going to take 2 to 3 minutes for that fan to actually cycle through and shut off. Alright, continuing in, we got a TV. It's on a swivel. I'm sure you know that we'll swivel and go around to the back so you can watch it in the bedroom. You have to close these doors in order to do so. While that's coming on, we'll close these doors. I'll show you how that works. So in the bedroom, you can literally just spin the TV right around to this side. Going back the other way. Want to stay out that way. Lock it out. One thing I want to say on this is when you get to the campsite, run a digital channel scan so that you can pick up all the local channels at the campground. AM, FM, Bluetooth, auxiliary sound system. That's loud. It's 3 sets of speakers. Really nice sound system. DVD as well. Here's your smoke alarm. Your sofa will jackknife down into a bed. Lift up on the front, lay it down. Just make sure you have it back up before you bring your slide in. Same thing over here in the dinette. This table will lift up, remove from those 2 clips on the back. Put your tabletop down on these metal or these plastic pieces here. Put your flat cushions on top. Another place for someone to sleep. Your bunk area that's now a single bunk. Did a good job with that. In the bathroom, you've got a hand crank open exhaust vent. Shower, tub, access panel to that. Let's talk plumbing real quick. So here's your access to everything. If you're bouncing this up and down the road and you're traveling a lot, get inside and feel your plumbing. Make sure nothing's wiggled loose over time. If you feel wetness, maintain it. Coming out in the hallway now. Bottom of our pantry is going to be our breaker box and fuses. You got a ton of 15s, a 30 and a 40. Again, the return for our fridge. Dometic fridge. Turn it on here. Push that in for auto. Auto means when you're plugged in, you're running off electricity. As soon as you unplug, you're on gas. Lift up on that. Now you're on gas. If that light comes on, check your gas. Starting up top with our microwave. Throw that, your light and fan. Plug your cooktop. This is actually a knife holder. Fold that back. Turn that to light. Get your burner spark. Now again, you may have to bleed your lines when you first get to the campsite. Make sure gas gets into the lines. Same thing on the oven. Make sure your pilot light lights before you turn it to your desired temperature to bake. So here's your access to your water heater. Access to that. Access to your plumbing in your kitchen. Lastly, your bedroom, which we pretty much went through. Shows you the television, hand crank vent in here. There's your lighting for there, and my lighting for here. Also storage underneath this bed. I think that about covers everything in here. Let's act like we're leaving the campsite and close the unit up. I like to start by shutting off my living room lights. So now I know any other lights that are on are accent lights that I need to walk through. The switch underneath here is for your dinette. Shut these off. These do have a low and high setting, by the way. Alright, with all my accent lights off. One more, see? Now I'll say doors and drawers. Turn on our lights. Make sure all doors and drawers are closed. Nothing's going to impede your slide from coming in. Get living room in. It's very important to have this door closed. TV back in locked position. That noise is just a mechanism telling you that it's in. Alright, exit the unit. Now before you leave the dump station, and I say that because you're going to go in here and check the levels of your tanks as you're dumping. But before you leave, lock and deadbolt your door. Lift and turn that handle. That's how you want that to travel. Alright, if we're out dry camping, we're going to come over here, get up underneath here and dump our freshwater tank. Lift up our stabilizing jacks and head on home or the nearest dump station, whatever we're in need of. If we're at a campsite, we'll unhook our power, our water, our cable, bring up our stabilizing jacks and head on up to the dump station. At the dump station parked accordingly, your dump is all the way at the rear on your driver's side of your tow vehicle. Hook up your sewage hose and pull your black handle on the left. Once it sounds like it's no longer draining, go inside, check the level of your black tank. If it shows empty, come back out here, leave that black handle open, grab the hose at the dump station and hook up to this tank flush. Again, emphasizing leaving that black handle open. Turn this tank flush on for a good 5 minutes and wash all that nastiness out of your black tank. After a good 5 minutes, remove that hose, make sure all that washout water you put in there has drained. And then go ahead and pull this gray handle here. And that one sounds like it's no longer draining. Get up underneath here and dump our galley tank. Use this gray handle here. When that one's done, close that up. Take that sewage hose and conveniently and sanitarily store it right here in your bumper and head on home. Again, thank you guys so much for your purchase. Hope you enjoy this Solaire for many years to come. Happy camping. The switch underneath here is for your dinette. Shut these off. These do have a low and high setting, by the way. There's all my accent lights off. One more, see? Now I'll say doors and drawers. Turn on our lights. Make sure all doors and drawers are closed. Nothing's going to impede your slide from coming in. Get living room in. It's very important to have this door closed. TV back in locked position. That noise is just a mechanism telling you that it's in. Alright, exit the unit. Now before you leave the dump station, and I say that because you're going to go in here and check the levels of your tanks as you're dumping. But before you leave, lock and deadbolt your door. Lift and turn that handle. That's how you want that to travel. Alright, if we're out dry camping, we're going to come over here, get up underneath here and dump our freshwater tank. Lift up our stabilizing jacks and head on home or the nearest dump station, whatever we're in need of. If we're at a campsite, we'll unhook our power, our water, our cable, bring up our stabilizing jacks and head on up to the dump station. At the dump station parked accordingly, your dump is all the way at the rear on your driver's side of your tow vehicle. Hook up your sewage hose and pull your black handle on the left. Once it sounds like it's no longer draining, go inside, check the level of your black tank. If it shows empty, come back out here, leave that black handle open, grab the hose at the dump station and hook up to this tank flush. Again, emphasizing leaving that black handle open. Turn this tank flush on for a good 5 minutes and wash all that nastiness out of your black tank. After a good 5 minutes, rebuild that hose. Make sure all that washout water you put in there has drained. And then go ahead and pull this gray handle here. And that one sounds like it's no longer draining. Get up underneath here and dump our galley tank. See this gray handle here. When that one's done, close that up. Take that sewage hose and conveniently and sanitarily store it right here in your bumper and head on home. Again, thank you guys so much for your purchase. Hope you enjoy this Solaire for many years to come. Happy camping.